Hello. I am Auntie Boogles, and I would like to welcome you to my castle here at Boogle Kingdom. Today I am excited because I'd like to share with you a very special book. The book is titled Auntie Boogles, written by Yvette Tara Mallory. Come, gather around. Shortly after Lucky was born, his mother returned to the field of energy from whence all things come from, leaving him and his older sister Clover to be raised by their father. One magical day, Lucky and Clover's Auntie Boogles unexpectedly appeared at their house to teach them magic, the magic that we all have within. Nobody ever really understood Auntie Boogles, but oddly, everything she did made sense. I will never forget the day when she first came to our house. My life has not been the same since. Nobody knew what to expect when Auntie Boogles arrived. Nobody ever knew when she would arrive, not even Papa. All he kept telling us was that one day she would soon appear. Shortly after we sat down for breakfast, the doorbell rang. Now who could that be, Papa said as he rose from the kitchen table to get the door. Auntie Boogles, I quietly thought to myself. Hello, a loud shrilling voice said. Auntie Boogles, Papa exclaimed. Why didn't you tell me that you were coming here today? Auntie Boogles replied in a serious tone. I did, had you only been listening. Auntie Boogles was kind of pretty in a strange sort of way. She had long, crinkly, amethyst hair that was scattered around her head. She wore funny-looking jewelry and had a long black cloak. Underneath the cloak was a long black skirt, and you could see the ruffles of her shirt peeking out. She had on funny boots and was carrying a big black bag. Her eyes twinkled bright like a star at midnight. Auntie Boogles slowly entered the kitchen and paused as if she were listening to someone. The ancestors tell me that they are pleased that we are finally together, she said as she looked at the three of us. Kneeling by the side of my chair, you must be lucky, she said, gently caressing my chin. She stared deep into my eyes and said, you are a very old soul. You are very sensitive, too. You have a lot of gifts. Gifts, I thought to myself. What kind of gifts? I don't have any gifts. While I was still pondering my thoughts, Auntie Boogles turned to speak to Clover. And you must be Clover. Yes, I am Clover, and I am about to be late for school, Clover replied. Late? There's no such thing as being late, sweetheart, Auntie Boogles said with a smile. Try telling that to my first-hour teacher, Clover mumbled under her breath. Auntie Boogles, come. Have a seat and join us for breakfast, Papa said as he pulled out a chair. Breakfast? Honey, it's too early to eat. That stuff is way too heavy. It'll drain my energy for the entire day. You know, it's kind of funny how you just happened to turn up here today. The babysitter called this morning and said that she would not be able to make it, and I have an important business trip. Well, I have a way of being at the right place at the right time, Auntie Boogles said with a smile. Great! I left the schedule on the refrigerator, Papa said as he put on his jacket. A schedule? Who needs a schedule? Everything has already been planned. Papa grabbed his hat and hurried out of the door. Auntie Boogles turned to us and asked, so now that your father has left, what are we going to do? Well, the schedule says, Clover piped up. Schedule? Forget the schedule, Auntie Boogles said as she stomped her foot and clapped her hands. What do you feel like doing? I say we go to the mall, Clover shouted. I say we go get ice cream. I love ice cream, Lucky said as he rubbed his belly. Well, why don't we just leave it up to the grown-up, Clover said as she folded her arms and rolled her eyes. Auntie Boogles placed her hands on Clover's shoulder and said, honey, just because I'm the grown-up doesn't mean that I am in control. But since you put it out there, I say we close our eyes and be very quiet and listen. Listen to what? I asked. Listen to your soul, Auntie Boogles replied. Your soul? I questioned inquisitively. Yes, your soul. Your soul always knows what it should do. It's called intuition. Well, my soul says it wants to go to the mall, Clover said as she put on her backpack. Sweetie, that's not your soul, that's your ego. Your soul wants what's right for all of us. The soul likes harmony, Auntie Boogles said with a smile. Harmony, that's it, I excitedly chimed. I say we make music. Great idea. Music and dance are good for the soul. I'll grab my tambourine, Auntie Boogles said as she rambled around in her black bag. And I'll grab my bongos, Lucky said as he rushed to the closet. We danced and sang for what seemed to be hours. Well, I'm exhausted. It's time for my nap, Auntie Boogles said as she collapsed onto the couch. Have the place cleaned up by the time I wake up. Hey, the soul didn't say anything about cleaning up, Clover griped. Well, the soul likes order, Auntie Boogles replied as she covered herself with her cloak. And just maybe when I wake up, we'll take a trip to the mall. After Auntie Boogles awoke from her nap, we climbed into her old truck. Hold on to your britches. I will have us at the mall in the bat of an eye. Auntie Boogles shouted as she stepped on the gas. And how right she was. Time had a way of standing still with Auntie Boogles. As we pulled into the parking lot, Auntie Boogles said, Okay, guys, I need your help to manifest a parking space close to the door. After all of that dancing, Auntie Boogles is too tired to walk, she chuckled. Manifest? What's manifest? Lucky asked. A fancy way to say appear, Auntie Boogles replied. Now we all must close our eyes and concentrate. Visualize the perfect parking space. Honk! A car blew its horn as it went around Auntie Boogles. Maybe I should keep my eyes open, she laughed. As Auntie Boogles slowly drove through the parking lot, almost as by magic, a car pulled out of a space right in the front of the door. It worked, I shouted. It always works, she said as she looked up at the sky and said thanks. Come, hurry, Lucky shouted as I grabbed Auntie Boogles by the hand and pulled her towards the ice cream parlor. I'll be at the dress shop, Clover shouted as she headed off. Wow, so many flavors to choose from, Auntie Boogles. I can't decide, I said as I looked through the freezer glass. Well, I have an idea. Why don't we use a pendulum, she said, as she removed an old chain and charm from around her neck. We'll just hold it over each flavor and watch the direction it swings. If it swings from side to side, that's a no. If it swings from front to back, that's a yes. Auntie Boogles held the charm over each flavor as we watched the pendulum swing from side to side. No, 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 yes, Auntie Boogles said as she placed the locket back around her neck. Strawberry, my favorite, I said with delight. After finishing our ice cream, Auntie Boogles and I headed to the dress shop to look for Clover. There she stood in front of a mirror holding a dress in front of her. How does this look, she asked as she turned around. Wrong color, Auntie Boogles quietly responded. That color is all wrong for you. You need this color, she said as she held up a dress. You need this color because it's in your aura. Aura? What's an aura? Clover asked as she examined the dress. An aura is the color of your energy field. Not everyone is able to see it, she said as she looked at me and winked. Well, what color is my aura, Auntie Boogles? I asked. Gold, she replied as she rubbed my head. Well, since it's good for my aura and it's on sale, I'll take it, Clover laughed. As I carried bags into the house, Auntie Boogles, I don't feel so well, I said as I rubbed my belly. You probably had a bit too much ice cream, Auntie Boogles said as she felt Lucky's forehead. Let's head out back into the garden and see what we can find to get you feeling better. As she stood in the garden, Auntie Boogles closed her eyes and raised her hands. What are you doing, Auntie Boogles? I asked. Shh. I'm calling the garden fairies to assist us in finding the right herbal medicine. What was that? Lucky whispered as he jumped behind Auntie Boogles. What was what? Auntie Boogles asked. That leaf just moved. Oh, that's nothing to be afraid of, Auntie Boogles answered. That's just a garden fairy, here to help us find your medicine. Do you hear that? Hear what? I asked. Shh, be very quiet and listen. The plants are speaking to us. Just over there in the corner of the garden, as if by magic, a plant started to grow. That's it, right there, peppermint. Let's pick it, then we can go, Auntie Boogles said as she rushed over to the plant. Then we headed back to the house. As the peppermint simmered on the stove, Auntie Boogles had me lie down on the floor. Then she went over to her black bag and put out a funny-looking stone. Hey, what is that? I asked as Auntie Boogles kneeled on the floor beside me. A crystal, she said as she placed it on top of my head. Now close your eyes and lie very still. Auntie Boogles took her hands and waved them around just above my stomach. What in the world are you doing? Clover asked. This is kind of weird. I am clearing his energy field, removing all the traps, soot, and junk, Auntie Boogles said as she shook her hands as if she were throwing something away. Now how do you feel? She looked at me and asked. Well, I feel lighter, I said as Auntie Boogles helped me to my feet. Good, Auntie Boogles replied. As Auntie Boogles sat on the porch pouring tea into our teacups, she looked out into the sky and said, "Oh, what a beautiful sunset, how romantic," as she let out a deep sigh. Do you have a boyfriend, Clover asked. Oh yeah, lots of them, Auntie Boogles replied as she gave me a wink. Have you ever been married? No, that's still on my things of list to do, she laughed. I'll never get married, Clover shouted as she folded her arms and plopped down on the couch. Now, dear, you need to be more mindful of your words. Words have power, and you will speak never being married right into existence. What you need to do is make a list. A list, Clover asked. Yes, a list. You write everything down exactly as you want it to happen. It works like magic. Sounds easy enough. I'll go grab some paper and a pen, Clover said excitedly as she hopped up from her seat on the porch and headed into the house. Auntie Boogles, will making a list work for me too? I asked. The list works for everyone, Auntie Boogles replied with a smile. Now hurry and finish your tea so I can get you all tucked in for bed. As I climbed into bed, Auntie Boogles came in to say goodnight. She hummed as she tucked the covers around my neck. I miss Mom, I looked at her and said. I know you do, sweetheart, she whispered gently as she kissed me on the cheek. Your mother is still with us, and you can talk to her any time you like, Auntie Boogles said with a smile. Talk to her? Talk to her how? I asked. Here, let me show you. Go get her picture from the mantelpiece. We're going to make an ancestor altar. When I returned to the room, Auntie Boogles had lit a candle and placed a small glass of water on the nightstand next to my bed. She motioned for me to hand her the picture, then place it in the center of the nightstand. Now, she said, whenever you miss your mother or want to talk to her, all you have to do is come to this special place. Now, I'm sure that you have a lot that you would like to say to her, so I'm going to leave you alone. Good night, Lucky, she said as she kissed my head. Don't forget to say your prayers and pay attention to your dreams. I'm sure you will have a lot to talk about in the morning. And that was the first of many days and nights that would mold and shape my magical life. Auntie Boogles would like to encourage each and every one of you to read and write every day. The more you read and the more you write, the better you become. And maybe one day you'll even write your own book. Enjoy your day, and as always, believe in your magic.